It's a big, noisy universe of stocks out there. Welcome to Goodbye or Goodbye. Our goal to help cut through that noise to navigate the best moves for your portfolio. Today we're looking at semiconductor names as chip stocks can continue to come into focus amid the annual CES Tech event. I'm here with GraniteShares founder and CEO Will Rhind. Good to see you, Will. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Julie. Good to see you.
So let's get to your buy first of all, and that is Micron. Micron actually got a little bit of a pop from CES, which we'll talk about in a moment. Over the last year, it's kind of muddled along, right? It hit its high back in June, as we can see, and then has come down since then. So let's get to why you like it. And the share's not only down since then, but also more recently in December came out with some negative guidance, and the shares are down since then. So do you think they've sort of unfairly sold off?
Yeah, I think this is a classic example of one of the names which has not hit the bright lights of the AI story. And when we think about the AI names that are leading the pack, this is not one of the names that jumps to the top of that. And that's been reflected in the share price. There was a bit of disappointment, obviously, the last earnings call where the company missed earnings and then guided down. But I think that is going to start to change.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the catalysts that could change it. Even though the bright lights of AI have not shined on it, the brightest light of AI, Nvidia, kind of shined on it during CES, because hinted that Micron is working with Nvidia, right?
And in a major way. So in the Nvidia keynote, Micron was name-checked not only as a provider for some of the main processing technology which NVIDIA has, but some of its new memory architecture also going to be very important for NVIDIA's processing going forward. So much so that this is a keynote that's been shared very widely online, including by Elon Musk himself on X. So the company got a lot of, I think, eyeballs on it from that. And I think that the outlook for the company longer term is certainly strong. I think this memory part of the AI market that they're in is something that the company itself expects to grow pretty dramatically over the next few years. But certainly a name now that with working with the biggest player in the market, the godfather of AI himself, Jensen Huang, then the company's well positioned for the future.
And it's been sort of overlooked in that space. I mean, I should say memory chips are sort of traditionally the less sexy part of the semiconductor market, right? They're in a market that's already commoditized, they're probably seen as the more commoditized part of it. So it sort of explains why it's been overlooked here. But what do you think is going to change in 2025?
I think just if you looked at the NVIDIA keynote, I mean, the fact that one, they're working in partnership with the leader or the leading stock, certainly in the AI space, number one. But number two, that memory space is something that is expected to grow. It's a key component, a lot of the now NVIDIA architecture. So for me, the market, I think, from Micron's perspective and the memory space is expected to grow from 16 billion to 100 over the next few years. But more than that, I think now this is a player that can establish itself as one of the key AI stocks going forward.
And when we talk about potential risks here, it could be that maybe they continue to miss the numbers. What is the likelihood of that, do you think?
I think there's certainly the shorter term volatility, and that's what we've been seeing over the last sort of 12 months or so, with the name not being as sort of focused on by the investor community as some of the bigger names that we're all familiar with. However, I think the longer term, that the outlook is bright for the company. So short term, maybe could be some more volatility, but expect that to grow over time.
And is this a stock that you own, I should ask?
It's not a stock that I own personally.
Okay,
no.
Gotcha. All right, so let's get to the stock that you think folks should avoid, and that is Intel. Very much the other side of the coin here. We know the shares are down sharply over the past year. It's losing market share to competitors. We've seen that sort of play out over the past couple of years.
Yeah, this is a sort of a slow rolling tragedy in many ways of a company that once had dominant position in the chip market, very much the sort of the bellwether in many ways of the technology world, the Intel Inside, et cetera, that everybody's very familiar with. And just over time has really been late to various key things, most importantly, the AI boom, and has seen its market share erode over time, and hence the share price has just slowly deteriorated.
And of course, we know that Pat Gelsinger was just ousted as CEO after trying to bring the company back from that brink. And it's sort of, there are a lot of questions about what happens now, right?
a lot of questions, and hence part of the reason why he's no longer with the company. The company's received a lot of government funding. They have a lot of potential projects sort of going on at the same time. And really, I think it's about prioritizing for the long-term future. As we talked about, the losing market share to key competitors such as AMD, markets that they had a lock on, for such a long time. And so with that, it's difficult right now to talk, in a very positive way about the story.
When we talk about the future also, those projects you were talking about, it's foundry business where it would make chips for other chip makers. Some of that is contingent on these big factories it's building with help from the CHIPS Act. And so there's some questions, I guess, around that too.
Yeah, and this was meant just to purely highlight the fact that the company has been a big beneficiary of government funding, whether it's been through the CHIPS Act, whether it's been through the Inflation Reduction Act, something that President Trump has talked negatively about both of those things, threatening in some cases to repeal them. So it was really just some uncertainty over the fact that the company has benefited a lot from government funding. There may be some uncertainty about that under a new Trump administration.
What would be the better case scenario for an Intel here? Maybe they get some new leadership.
Yeah, it has to be the classic turnaround story. So that clearly starts with appointing a new CEO, having a growth strategy or returning to growth. But I think that there are a lot of issues at the company that need to be worked through. But clearly a start would be a new CEO, a new strategy. We'll
see. It's going to be a big year for Intel. We'll see how that all plays out. Thank you so much for being here,
Julie.
Will. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching Goodbye or Goodbye. We'll be bringing you new episodes at 3:30 p.m. Eastern.